Today, by Zoom, Bishop Anabe will say, in part, on the 13th of action, President Trump's recent decisive action to redesignate Nigeria, I warned that the situation was dire and demanded urgent attention. Tragically, the past half year has proven those warnings.
Donald Trump says he's asked the U.S. Defense Department to prepare for potential military action in Nigeria. The U.S. president says it's because Nigeria's government is failing to stop what he calls the persecution of Christians. In a social media post, Trump said the U.S. is immediately stopping all aid and assistance to Nigeria. He went on to say he was instructing the military to prepare. Nigeria has denied the allegations. Isha Komodowski has more on Trump's threat.
Well, President Trump has issued a message to the Nigerian authorities, and let me quote it in full. If the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop.
When I tell you, say, Biafra go dey declared in no distant time by the US government, many people think say I dey joke. This is one of the things Mazina de Carlo say. In people go dey in their sleeping bed, Biafra go dey declared, and which is about to happen. Mazina de Carlo is a prophet. He saw this initially before in talking. Last time, US government was debating and dialoguing on how to divide the country into two. But from the response and the feedback where they don't hear and where they don't see, they don't conclude now say they go divide them into four. And that time I be talk something say if they divide it into two, it will not make any sense. And I was even telling Una, me wanna share Una opinion. So it's better to divide it into four, which I said the Hausa, Yoruba, Niger Delta, and the Biafra. Because Biafra, when Biafra they talk say they won't go their own, and Niger Delta say they don't want to be part of Biafra. So that was my own suggestion, and many people was bringing suggestion, and I tell Una say drop Una thought at the comment section, because you don't know who might see it, whether if it is in my channel or any other channel. You drop your opinion, drop your own thoughts, because anybody can see it and the feedback can also be. So I don't go just talk much. Watch this video from the starting to the ending. Share this video to everyone on every social media platform, and make sure you drop your opinion at the comment section. Don't forget to click the subscribe button for more updates. Share this video right now to all Biafra so that they go see and drop their own thoughts within they think about this division of country into four. Initially it was dividing into two, but later they now have a feedback and a rethink of dividing it into four. Pay attention and share this video. There is joy. We might not witness this election 2027 election with Tinubu they plan with in Nigerian government, how they go take rig election. We might not even witness it. So share this video right now and drop your opinion at the comment section. Don't forget to click the subscribe button for more updates. Share it right now so that you don't go forget.
I applaud President Trump's recent decisive action to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern for engaging in and tolerating severe violations of religious freedom. One of our witnesses today, Bishop Wilfred Anagbe from the Diocese of Makurdi, testified before our subcommittee last March. He said, in part, militant Fulani herdsmen are terrorists. They steal and vandalize, they kill and boast about it, they kidnap and rape, and they enjoy total impunity from elected officials. None of them have been arrested and brought to justice, close quote. Today, by Zoom, Bishop Anabe will say, in part, on the 13th of March, 2025, when I last appeared before this committee, I warned that the situation was dire and demanded urgent attention. Tragically, the past half year has proven those warnings understated. The continued attacks on vulnerable Christians, villages by the Fulani ethnic militia and their counterparts, both in the middle belt of Nigeria and elsewhere in the country. In my own diocese of Makurdi, you are all familiar with the massacres of Saturday, the 13th of June in Yalawada, where 278 persons, men, women, and children were killed in a manner too gory to describe here by people shouting Allah Akbar, while slaughtering their victims. It took the prayer of the Holy Father, Pope Leo, on Sunday, the 14th of June, for the government of Nigeria to even acknowledge this evil. Even so, the federal government still seeks to downplay the numbers and has yet to properly care for the survivors, even as I speak, as he will be speaking momentarily by way of Zoom. Abductions of the clergy and laity remain rampant. Priests and pastors are prime targets for elimination. In 2015, one of our colleagues, a member of this subcommittee and also this full committee, I should say, and of Foreign Affairs, and a former House colleague and Green Beret officer, and now U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Mike Waltz, he was deployed in 2015 to Nigeria as part of a Nigerian, he was part of the Special Forces to provide training and security assistance to the Nigerian Navy SEALs in their fight against Boko Haram. During this time there, he said yesterday, a couple of days ago, more than 300 girls were reported missing because of Boko Haram's extremist violence. Working alongside his team, Ambassador Waltz supported Nigerian SEAL operations that ultimately helped rescue many of these girls from the oppressive conditions imposed by Sharia law. This past Tuesday, Ambassador Waltz also said at a special seminar on Nigeria that the situation in Nigeria now has only grown more dire. He went on to say, churches burn, mothers bury their children for the crime of singing Amazing Grace, pastors are beheaded for preaching the Sermon on the Mount, and entire villages awaken to gunfire simply by calling Jesus their Lord. This is not random violence. It is deliberate persecution as northern militant groups enforce Sharia law and unleash targeted attacks on Christian communities. He also pointed out, and it was this week, that 25 girls went missing, many of whom who will now vanish and have vanished into the dark underbelly of extremism and sex slavery. Make no mistake, these ongoing attacks are based on religion, and diverting attention from it denies what we have seen with our own eyes. Yeah, there may be other factors, but religion is driving this. Kill the infidel. We see it in other places, and we're seeing it now, sadly, in Nigeria, and it's been going on for many, many years. 13 years ago, in this room, 2012, I chaired a hearing focusing on the slaughter of Christians by Boko Haram, and the Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, Johnny Carson, testified at that hearing and said, and I quote in part, that the phenomena of Boko Haram is one of discrediting the central government in power for its failure to deliver services to the people. I asked him at the time, are you kidding? I responded by asking why Boko Haram abducts and rapes Christian girls and uses force and coercion, even death, to convert Christians to Islam. On a trip to an IDP camp in Jos, I met many survivors. One man who we had testify here, named Adama, who they took him out of his house. His wife was screaming, please don't hurt my husband. They put a AK-47 to his cheek and said, you renounce your faith or we'll kill you. He said, well, I'm ready to meet my Lord. They asked him again. He repeated that, and they shot him. They blew his face very, very horribly. He survived. And when I met him, I invited him to come and testify. He did. And he said, you've got to realize who Boko Haram is and stop this idea, this is my words, but his sentiment of denial, of saying, it's nothing to see here. So I asked Johnny Carson further, why won't they designate Boko Haram at least, if not a CPC country, as a foreign terrorist organization? And he said they don't believe it. They're not a foreign terrorist organization. I worked on that for 3 years, additional hearings. On the day I was marking up my bill, and it was called the Boko Haram Terrorist Designation Act of 2013, to put Congress on record demanding an FDO designation. That day, the administration declared Boko Haram a foreign terrorist organization. I was very happy with it, but we could have done that 3 years earlier, maybe had found out what their sources of weapons and funding and everything else might have been, thereby, again, mitigating some of the harm. For too long, the world has looked away, a culture of denial, as radical Fulani militants, Boko Haram and ISIS West Africa have waged a relentless campaign of terror, murder, and displacement across Nigeria, including the states of Plateau, Benue, and Kaduna. According to Open Doors, and I just want to say something about Open Doors. I've worked with Open Doors for 40 years. I knew the founder, Brother Andrew, an absolutely honest and committed man, and that organization to this day continues to speak truth to power all over the world, including in Nigeria. Well, they have said, Open Doors, more Christians are slaughtered in Nigeria than anywhere else in the world. I co-chair the China Commission. I just left a hearing that we're holding over on the Senate side on religious persecution there, against everyone, against the Falun Gong, against the Christians, against the Buddhists in Xinjiang, not the Buddhists, the Buddhists in Tibet, and the Muslims in Xinjiang. And while they kill many, they incarcerate and harass more than they slaughter. These groups in Nigeria are doing just that, slaughtering. Another group has said over 52,000 Christians in Nigeria have reportedly been targeted and killed by Islamist extremists, while approximately 34,000 moderate Muslims have been murdered as well since 2009. And, that is less focused upon. I raise it every time, and I hope we all will. They're killing those who don't conform to the radical Islamist view, so they get killed too. I met with many imams on trips to Nigeria as well as here, and they say if we speak out, we'll be firebombed too. During a visit, there are 19,000 churches have also been attacked. More than 7,000 have been murdered in this year alone. During my visit to Jos in 2013, I visited many churches that have been firebombed in Jos. And I listened to the survivors and was moved almost to tears, and to tears with some, when they talked about the numbing loss and pain of losing loved ones. And the churches were decimated, each and every one of them, either by cars coming in and plowing everybody and destroying the physical, or by bombs, and of course always the ever-present AK-47. They pleaded with their own government and the world to end the cruelty and violence. And I've been raising it, as have many others ever since. About 5 million Christians have been displaced and forced into internally displaced persons camps within Nigeria and refugee camps at regional and sub-regional borders, according to an Inter-Society report. Open Doors reports, and again, I hope we can finally get beyond just saying nothing's to see here. While Christians used to be vulnerable only to Muslim-majority northern states, this violence continues to spread into the Middle Belt and even further south. The attacks are shockingly brutal. Many believers are killed, particularly men, while women are often kidnapped and targeted for what? Sexual violence, rape, and other abuse. More believers are killed for their faith in Nigeria than anywhere else in the world. These militants also destroy homes, churches, and livelihoods. And many people don't go to school anymore. One estimate is 10,000 schools have been closed due to this violence. The Nigerian government has a fundamental constitutional obligation to protect its own citizens. Yet the brutal reality is that the perpetrators of these crimes operate with impunity. The lack of accountability sends a chilling message that the lives of Christian farmers and their families are expendable. This failure has rightfully been called out by the President of the United States, President Trump, and Secretary of State Rubio. The United States must not stand by idly. I've introduced resolutions, and others have been introduced as well. Res 82, I had done that previously on 82, asking that the Biden administration, we had an interesting conversation and debate on that resolution. It did pass 26 to 21. And part of the argument that was made by Mr. Meeks and my very distinguished colleague to my left is that it's the President and the Secretary of State that needs to make that call, not us. I think we can encourage something. That's what it did. But nevertheless, now they've made the call. And I think we need to, double down and try to stop this. Res 860, which I've introduced, also calls on conditioning U.S. foreign assistance, and it must be tied to progress from the Nigerian government in preventing persecution, prosecuting perpetrators, and protecting all communities. Second, it would provide direct humanitarian assistance, especially the faith-based groups working on the ground in the Middle Belt. What we're hearing is that it's not getting through. People are hungry, so we need to make sure that they're helped. And third, we must impose targeted sanctions pursuant to the Global Magnitsky Act, using visa bans and access freezes against individuals and entities responsible for these gross human rights abuses. President Trump, as I conclude, said, Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. The United States cannot stand by while atrocities are happening in Nigeria.
As I speak to you right now, the blood pressure of the Nigerian government is very, very high. Why, you may ask? It is because the US Congress has called for an emergency meeting, and it's all about Nigeria. They want to discuss the best way to restore peace in Nigeria. Now, if you remember, on the 18th day of January 2026, they had this meeting, and one of the reps in the Congress said that the best way he suggests that peace can be restored in Nigeria is to divide Nigeria into two, the North and the South. And he said that it is better they go and suggest it to Donald Trump to divide Nigeria into two. Now, today, being the 4th day of February 2026, they have gathered once again to discuss the way forward about Nigeria. Please, I beg you to stay with me. Now, from this news, we can see it is written boldly, saying, breaking, country of particular concern, U.S. Congress holds new session on Nigeria today. Right? Now, it went on to say, let me zoom it. Witnesses appearing before the United States Congress Foreign Affairs Committee have cautioned that Nigeria is at risk of descending into widespread Christian-Muslim violence, identifying the country as a major flashpoint in an escalating global crisis of religious freedom. Una dey hear the English? That Nigeria is descending into a widespread Christian and Muslim violence. Please stay with me, it's just very short. The warning is contained in written testimonies released ahead of the joint hearing of the committee, which is holding on Wednesday today, with witnesses citing recurring killings, displacement, and insecurity as indicators of an emerging broader religious conflict in Nigeria. That after their last hearing, that killings continued in Nigeria. Now, they went on to say, the hearing will be jointly convened by the House Subcommittee on Africa and the Subcommittee on the Western Hemisphere to assess what U.S. lawmakers describe as mounting threats to religious freedom worldwide. It is titled Defending Religious Freedom Around the World. So the U.S. is out now. They really want to defend or they really want to stand for religious freedom in the world. And one of the places they can come to stand firm in that is in Nigeria, where we face a lot of religious threats. Christians particularly face, religious threats in Nigeria. Now, you remember, as I said earlier, on the 18th day of February 2026, we saw this news. It says, U.S. Congress to propose the breaking up Nigeria to President Trump. Please, I beg you to stay with me, just this. We will provide options for President Trump on Nigeria. This January 2026, U.S. Congressman Rep. Willie Moore said, breaking up Nigeria will be one of the options to create a safe zone for Christians. Breaking up Nigeria is one of the best options to create a safe zone for Nigeria. All right? Half Muslims, half Christians have never worked and will never work. Half Christians, half Muslims will never work and can never work. Now, my question is Nigeria actually half Muslims and half Christians? Please answer that. Then he went on to say, Islam in Nigeria will not accept equality. When I saw this news, I have to think twice. And then I started asking myself, why is it that Islam does not accept equality with any other religion? Please, if you know the answer, drop it in the comment section. Why is it that Islam do not accept equality with any other religion? They went on to say, finally, Christians will continue to be subjugated, that Christians will continue to be marched upon. Now, I saw a video that was made by a Northerner where he was saying that he is praying to Allah to divide Nigeria into four. Now, if you remember that the U.S. Congress is saying that they are going to propose to Trump to divide Nigeria into two. But some people are saying divide into 4. So I don't know. Now, this is dividing Nigeria into 2. I don't know if you can see it. The north and the south. Now, this is dividing Nigeria into 4. The Arewa, the Savannah, the Middle Belt, the Oduduwa, and the Biafra. So which one do you think that is the best? But then, I want to allow you to watch this very little clip or video that was made by an Hausa man saying that it is better they divide into 4. Please listen to him. I'll be right back.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking with Nigerians. I asked Allah. I said Allah to share Nigeria into 4. Allah share Nigeria into 4. Let's everybody relax. We don't have any time. We are killing everybody. If Habinda, what happened in Edo State, it happened in northern Nigeria. It happened that they kill Igbo people or they kill any southerner. The story would be different. The story would be different. You know, Igbo people with propaganda. Small time they say where Muslims are killing Christians. It happened in the north side. I have one of my previous video that I said about that. It can't happen really. You understand? So we don't want any issue. May Allah, I say God, may God share Nigeria into 4 parts. May you give your Biafra 5 plot of your land. You carry JJ. Go, we don't get issue with you. Niger Delta, you get oil, get resources. May God give you your own creek. Carry your creek, go. JJ, no fight. Yoruba people, Allah don't give you blessing of sea. You have seaport, you have resources. Carry your resources, alhamdulillah. Carry them. JJ, go without sharing of blood. Very simple. We are deceiving ourselves every time. One Nigerians, but we are not one for our minds. Just take a good look at what's happening in Nigeria. It has been that what happened recently in Edo State, it happened in the north side. The story will be different. Even channel television cannot allow to rest. Social media everywhere. But now if it happens with Hausa people, they look like people are taking them like animals. I see some people are doing propaganda, is carrying another bandage pictures, another country pictures are posting and say that, see, Northern, where are they carrying for AK-47 to go this? You see what happened? You Northern, you have lands, you have land to farm, you have gold, you have oil. We Northern, we have oil as Niger Delta have. So where are we looking? Everybody carries on self JJ and go. Share without blood. We can share the country without blood. It happened during Jonathan. They did it in House of Assembly. They did not succeed. But inshallah now let's do it by ourselves. Just do it generalizing, not sharing of blood. Let's share the country. Everybody will stay peace. Everybody will stay peace. If I'm going to Lagos and I'm going to another country, I'll follow their rules. If they are coming to my side, they know they are going to another country, they follow their side. Everybody is very simple. All is West Africa.
Not only him, in the recent days, there has been argument that whether it is good to divide into 4 or into 2. In fact, some people went ahead to say it is better we divide into 6 self. They went on to say the Niger Delta and any person or any group that wants to be on their own shoe, let to be. So please, I'm asking you now watching this video, how do you think if division should be the last option? What or how do you think that it should be divided? Into 2, the north and the south, or into 4, or into 6? Which one do you think is the best way? But then, let me allow you to hear other people's option, what they say is the best way, and the reasons why they said it. Please listen to them.
I want to ask you, where did we sit down to make Nigeria 36 states with Abuja as the capital? Where did we sit down? The country that was negotiated was 3 regions: the North, the West, the East. 1963, by plebiscite, Midwest came. Where did we sit down and draw the boundary and then gave 19 states to the North, 774 local government, majority to the North, 8,800 ward, majority to the North? Look, there is no bill that can pass in that National Assembly if the North does not say so. Because the North, as we have it today, is the kingmaker. They don't hate the North. I love the Hausas, I love the Fulani, but we must tell the truth. So anybody that is talking about fixing Nigeria, that is overlooking the foundation and is saying, let's just go. It's not possible. It's not possible. That's why I refer you to the patriot and some other a good Nigeria that are saying, look, we have looked into this situation, except
there has been this call for instruction. But for the North now, if I were to speak for the North, I would not speak for instruction. I would think of giving people what they want. Yoruba nation wants Oduduwa Republic. In the name of God, give them Oduduwa Republic. This is 21st century. We have a right to choice. Biafra wants Biafra. Give them Biafra. Give every other nationality what they need. Because as far as I know, the relationship is sound. There is geometrical increase in suspicion across all expressions. The trust is not there. Suspicion is not there. And people want to develop at their own speed. If you want to go at the speed of rocket, please, you should be allowed to go at the speed of rocket. If you want to go at the speed of snail, go at the speed of the snail at your own pedal, at the consequence will come into you. But for now, if anybody is thinking that physical federalism is the solution to Nigeria, he is not even understanding the geography, not understanding the history, not understanding the mathematics, not even aware of geometry and the geometrical implication of what they are asking about physical federalism. What we should have is, we should have sub-nations among Nigeria. Let every tribe, let every region get what it wants. Short of this, our children, our grandchildren will abuse us because we are going to leave behind for them a cancerous, that will defy every chemotherapy.
Nigeria is not a united country, despite all the pretenses. We are not South since 1914, it has not changed. The North, at the flip of a switch, they are able to shout Northern interest. The Southerners are laid back, hoping that, oh, we are civilized, we don't want to talk about tribalism. Tribalism is at play. We are pretentious about this matter. Look, the North has taken us for a ride for too long. They foisted federal character on Nigeria over 40 years. They foisted quota system over Nigeria over 40 years. Have they benefited from it? Only the tiny clique in the North is holding the whole country to ransom. It's enough time for Nigeria to wake up. We are not together, North nor South. Now they are talking the elite, the few elite in the North, like if the bottle is going to be removed from their mouth. That's what they are doing. They are shouting. They are forming a group now, lead of Northern Democrats. It's a fact that we are divided. It pretends that is totally, I don't understand it. The North knows what they want, and the South are reluctant to say what they want. President Tinubu is there to put all the cards on the table, trying to pepper over it and say we are united. Of course, we are not united. We are not united. We are divided. That's just the truth. I've told you now that the North brought federal character. The South agreed to okay, fine, we are united. Where is the result of it? The North brought quota system. Southerners agree with it. It's in the constitution. What is the result? If we now bring in tax to say, okay, get more VAT in the North at the expense of the South, so what will be the result? The division will continue until we remove the feeding bottle. Let everybody just work according to his own dictates. The North sincerely believes in Sharia. We should not draw them for that purpose now. We should let them be. They want Sharia. In the South, there are Muslims. We don't want Sharia. Somebody brought up Oyo to do Sharia in Oyo. Everybody put it down. The Muslims in the South don't want Sharia. So why are we pretending? In the Southeast, some few Muslims, but they don't want Sharia. Let's accept who we are. Let's accept reality so that we'll not stop talking and motion without movement. That's what it is. I'm not ashamed. Okay, look, if President Tinubu succeeds now, 2027, 2031, every Yoruba person in Abuja will be clean out of the system, because Buhari started with Fulani. He is doing Yoruba now. Let the Igbos come. We cannot block the Igbos if they put 99% in all positions too. Is that the way we are building the country? Let Yoruba man go and rule Yoruba land. Let the North agree on who will rule Northwest. Let the Kanuri rule Northeast. Let the Igbos rule the Southeast. Let the South agree. Then the temperature will come down. I will not want to be running federal election with 200 million naira form, because I have to run from Sokoto to Ikotekpene. I will campaign as a premier of Western region, where people know me and I know them. I know what they want. The Southwest want to bring all Yorubas who are Japan, bring them back to Nigeria. Nigeria is too hostile for the Yorubas now. Nigeria is a poisoned environment for Yoruba, because we invested in education so much and we have lost all the human beings. They are developing other societies. The North will not care less. How many doctors do they have in United States? How many doctors do they have in Europe? These are facts I'm put on the table now. I don't need to sugarcoat anything at all. We are divided. Let's just accept it. It's no fight. It's no war. The North will come up on their own. We will respect each other. But this matter of trying to play some games, President Tinubu is better. In fact, if he runs only one term and he brings this temperature down, his name will go down in history. But if he does not do anything in the next 6 months about restructuring, and he goes to use all the money to run election in 2027 and he wins, and then what? Yorubas will become endangered in the political system, because once he leaves, then Nigeria is not safe for Yoruba man again. We cannot continue the way we are now. Absolutely. Things have to change. And the earlier the change comes about, the better.
All aid assistance to Nigeria and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. I'm hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attack our cherished Christians. Warning, the Nigerian government better move fast. End of quote. And now, let's break it down. President Trump didn't specify which Islamic terrorist he meant. Boko Haram is the most well-known and historically deadly Islamist group in Nigeria. It's part of a wider network of extremist movements. The main jihadist group in the region today is the Islamic State West Africa province, which both the United States and the United Nations classify as a foreign terrorist organization. The United States has never carried out a large-scale or formal combat deployment, boots on the ground in Nigeria. U.S. involvement has been limited to, say, training, intelligence sharing, and counterterrorism support in coordination with the Nigerian government. So what led to Trump's warning here? The U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom recently urged Washington to label Nigeria a country of particular concern in 2025 due to ongoing persecution of both Christians and Muslims. A bill was also introduced in the Senate to sanction Nigerian officials accused of enabling violence against Christians specifically. Notably, President Trump post refers to our cherished Christians, even though the United States is not officially a Christian nation. Nigeria's religious conflict is complex. Both Christians and Muslims suffer violence, though the dynamics differ by region. The north is predominantly Muslim, while the south is largely Christian. Meanwhile, Amnesty International says Nigerian authorities have failed to protect citizens from daily armed attacks, leading to thousands and thousands of deaths and a growing humanitarian crisis in the north. Its investigation found that over 10,000 people have been killed in specifically armed attacks of all kinds, not just religion-based, across several states since the current government took power.
Okay, so certainly a complicated issue there. But in terms of policy, how is this getting along with Donald Trump's self-image as a peacemaker?
Well, Trump's 2024 campaign promise, if we remember, was explicitly about avoiding new wars, saying he would stop wars, not start them. But in his post about Nigeria, he threatens to send U.S. forces guns a-blazing. That's important, and even orders the Department of War to prepare for possible action. How large will this action be? We don't know yet, but he describes a possible attack as fast, vicious, and sweet.
Yeah, so potentially some contradictions there. But nevertheless, Nigeria is denying these allegations that Christians have been massacred. So, I mean, what kind of impact will the halt in US aid have on Nigerians? I mean, how much aid is the US actually even sending to Nigeria right now?
Well, the U.S. is by far the largest bilateral donor, contributing over $1 billion to Nigeria annually. In September this year, Washington approved $32.5 million in direct humanitarian assistance to Nigeria to help address hunger among internally displaced persons. Roughly, health and humanitarian aid, if we take a look at the statistics, make up the largest portion here, followed by security-related support. And if the United States stopped aid to Nigeria, millions could potentially lose access to HIV treatment, to vaccinations, to food assistance, especially in conflict-related areas.
And the US ambassador is a liar and a deceiver. One thing they don't teach we Africans is this. No country exists on a foundation of multiculturalism. There is nowhere in the world. Listen to me very carefully. All this nonsense, even the crap that Coca was coming up with, telling you about diversity is our strength and all that rubbish. Allow me to repeat, there is no country on this earth that survives on a foundation or a bedrock of multiculturalism. It doesn't exist. That is why multiculturalism in Africa is dead on arrival. It can never work. Because we are tribal beasts by nature. We are tribal by nature. That is why we travel from wherever we are during New Year's, during Christmas, during Easter, during New Year Festival to go back home where we come from. Because that is where we identify with. Now, let me ask the US ambassador a very simple question. Is United States of America a multicultural society? US, that was created and built by Western Europeans. US was created, should I say, created by God, of course. Built by Western Europeans. Mostly English people that was fed up with the way of life of the English monarchy. They went to America on merry roads. I want to ask the US ambassador, I want to teach Africans what they don't know this evening. There is no country that functions on this multi-ethnic rubbish. Nowhere in the world. Not even the USA, that was created by people who are not indigenous to America. The owners of the soil of America are Native American Indians. That is a fact of life. God gave America to Western Europe to develop, and gave them a special grace to be the beacon and the light and the conscience of the world. Because God knew that if he had left all these wonderful people in Europe, they would become contaminated. He removed them from Europe, sent them to America, built a wonderful nation as a shining light and a beacon for the whole world to look up to. Even that America that was built from scratch by people who are not indigenous to the land is not multicultural. Why am I saying this? America was founded on the principles of Judeo-Christian, Greco-Roman, democratic value systems. I repeat, America is not multicultural. They accommodate other races and other nations. Yes, they can accommodate you. But where you're coming into, the bedrock, the foundation of America is based on Judeo-Christian principles, Greco-Roman political ideology, which is republicanism. America is not multicultural. America is Western Europe. The value systems of Western Europe. Judeo-Christian, Greco-Roman Republican governance. Had America been a multicultural society, they would have space for Sharia. I'm now addressing the US ambassador to try to tell them to stop deceiving people. We are educated, we went to school for a reason. We are enlightened and we have our brain intact. There is no country on this earth that runs on this wishy-washy multiculturalism. It doesn't happen. What you have are established order and value systems upon which various cultures can now coexist. If you go to America, you coexist under the provisions of the United States Constitution. And the US Constitution is a Christian constitution, not Islam. America is not multicultural, but under that bedrock of liberty and egalitarianism, you allow other cultures to come in. But first of all, they must swear allegiance to or take an oath to uphold the Constitution of the USA. That is something that the US ambassador never told the Janjaweed that went to visit her. The same way that Nigeria cannot function as a viable entity. Wole Soyinka knows what I'm talking about. I'm even sure somebody who claims he's learned, as Bishop Coker is, understands what I'm talking about. No country on this earth. The value system of the State of Israel is based on Judaic principles. The value system of Russia is entirely theirs, it's based on theirs. It's the Russian way of doing things from times of the Tsar. If you go to Saudi Arabia, it is essentially a Sharia Islamic state. You can live there, no problem. You can build your churches if you want. I think they've not started to allow churches to be built. But it is never a multicultural society. Japan is not a multicultural society. China is not. They can accommodate you, but that doesn't mean they are This is the type of nonsense they feed Africans. And we fall for that very gimmick of multiculturalism. At the end of the day, you end up with a useless contraption like Nigeria. You don't have any value system that anybody anywhere can define. If I talk about the USA, I can talk about hamburger in the USA. We can talk about, what else do they have in the USA? Hamburger, you can talk about, what's it called? What are the traditional dishes? Apple pie and all the rest of it. You can say that these are American dishes. If you go to the UK, you can talk about maybe mashed potato and bangers and mash, which is sausage and mashed potato, as their national meal. That's understandable. But I ask you, if you come to Nigeria, what is the national dish of Nigeria? Does a Fulani Janjaweed eat ofe egusi, where we come from? Does an Igbo man eat a wedu soup? The answer is no. So on what basis is all this so-called multicultural foundation going to be laid upon? On what? We are not one people. We may be black, we may be Africans, but we're not one people. Not even one religion. If Britain cannot stay in an EU that is entirely Christian, EU is entirely Christian. Britain left. Nigeria, you don't know if Nigeria is Christian or in fact is Islamic. So for me to accept the multiculturalism being preached by the US ambassador, I have to embrace Islam as my religion. That's what it means. And some of you get taken in by all this rubbish. And I feel sorry for you. Yeah, sometimes when I say this, I'm being very arrogant. If you are educated, you will understand that no nation is multicultural. They allow other cultures to come in. It doesn't mean they're multicultural. They have a viable space where multicultural ideas or identities can thrive. But the foundation has to be monolithic. It has to be one dominant value system and ideology. That's how it is all over the world. Don't let anybody fool you otherwise. That is the same reason why you have this anomaly. In a so-called republic, you have royal fathers in a republic. Because you are trying to shuffle multiculturalism. You are trying to marry the feudal system of the North, the monarchical system of the West, and the Republican system in the East, to marry them into one. And what you have is entirely rubbish, and that is why Nigeria can never work. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. Competing value systems. Nobody wants their own value system to be subsumed under another person's value system. This is something that the US ambassador never told you. But here I am telling you today. Because if you come here, you become educated. If you come here, you become enlightened. If you come here, you stop being a zoo animal, you become a human being. That is why we are the largest and of course, the most consistent broadcasting platform insofar as Africa is concerned, right across the world. Millions listen to us because they know we preach the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. That is why this very day, because you are in one Nigeria, in multiculturalism, the army will come to Olo to defend Fulani Janjaweed living in our forests. We went to Olo to defend our people. They came, they arrested the clerics. Men of God, they arrested all of them. How many times have you heard that imams were being arrested in the north? Or that villages were being invaded in the north and imams being arrested? Only in Biafra land. And this is your multiculturalism. This is a place where you want all of us to stay, somehow to pretend that all is well when we know that it is not. In that same Nigeria is where Fulani headsmen openly boast about conquest. Benue State is one. That is why I feel sorry for the idiots talking rubbish from Benue. They came and they made the same bold claim on Edo State. And I quote, "We will kill all policemen and take over Edo State." Vanguard publication of January 23, 2021, this year. Only 2 months ago. Nothing happened to them. Only the Fulanis can lay claim to land that doesn't belong to them and nobody will say anything. When you try to respond, they come against you. And your average foolish Nigerian who cannot reason properly, they're not educated very well, I'm sorry to say, will side with the oppressor. It's only in Nigeria where the victim becomes the accused.
So what do you think will be the best thing? Which country where you want made they divide? Is it, drop it at the comment section, might not talk, might not give you suggestion, drop it at the comment section. Which country where you want me in go, and which country where you want me in merge together with Nigeria. Share this video to everyone on every social media platform. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. And how do you see the ideas? What do you think about this idea? Share this video and drop your opinion at the comment section. Don't forget to click the subscribe button for more updates so that we will give you updates on every single thing that they go on in Nigeria and also in Biafra land.